Hello, everyone.
Welcome back to Say a Prayer for California Till Death Do Us Party. This is going to be a special episode. Instead of continuing on with our journey, we are going to discuss our journey so far. I'm Abadonne Kilbride IV. I am the DM and sometimes Dinah and all the other people that aren't on screen with me right now. And yeah, who else is here with me?
My name is Maz, and I am here. My pronouns are they, them, and I play CB De La Russo, our level 6 wizard. Yeah, I think, yeah. Yep.
I'm Morgana. I play Seraphine St. Marie, a level 6 word domain cleric. My pronouns are fuck around, find out. And Kimberly is my co-pilot.
I'm A. Jordan Lambert. I play Aubergine Dreams, our level 5 bard, level 1 wizard. And anytime I hear special episode, I think of the 90s, and we're going to tell all y'all not to do drugs.
Although that happens a lot on this show, so who knows? Also, hello, Navarre. Thank you for coming.
Hi, Navarre!
For those who know, in Blackness and Dragons, Navarre played a character named Morgan Freeman. And if you've never heard Morgan Freeman say the words, "I will shoot you in the face," you have not lived. Navarre, you are precious. And we just love you, Navarre.
That's incredible.
Can I say that I played in the game with Navarre last night, and that moment also came up in...
Did it really?
Yes.
All right. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to jump on into our little retrospective here. I guess my first question for all of you is, what is your favorite moment from the campaign so far?
My favorite was finding out that Antigone Thrice is my fucking aunt. That was some M. Night Shyamalan type shit, just mind twist.
That was one of my favorites too. That was one of the first things that I actually wrote for this campaign, was that Antigone was always going to be your aunt.
I love that.
Like, I saw it coming, but like even when it happened, I was like, is this really happening? Is this real life?
I think that I was going to get you with that. I was sure that you knew me too well and you were going to guess ahead of time, so I'm really surprised that you were surprised, to be perfectly honest.
I'm really excited to see more of the, now that things are like not chaos, more of the of Viren's reaction to that, and that family reacting to being cousins with Seraphine. I'm really excited to see that happen, like more and more of that kind of family connecting.
Yeah, Viren went from being the oldest of 2 children to having like 19 fucking cousins, and that's some shit. He's got. Also, his mom is a double agent, and that's a whole thing. So he's got some stuff to work through in therapy as far as what his understanding of reality is. I'm sure.
Double agent named Jezebel.
Is so fucking good. And Jezebel is Dinah's handle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her hacker handle.
One of them.
Like, yeah, digital handle. So cool. I get like the amount of details that are spider webbing out in this universe. So good.
Is all I think about, TBH.
It's
What
so
about you, Jordan?
good.
Jordan and or Max?
I have 2. My first favorite, I want to piggyback on that, was also finding out that characters are other people. Finding out that kid is the Black Mariah's son was like
so good.
And it was, the second you said it, I was like, everything about this tracks and absolutely makes sense, but I never would have put that together without the obvious answer in my face.
I kind of had a feeling early on in the season, but I was like, no, that's too easy. That's just some easy peasy lemon squeezy type plot shit. And then, ta-da!
Ta-da! My second favorite was just our first meeting with Neuron at his club, because I feel like we were all so comfortable with our characters in that moment, and we were all so very much in character and all behaved absolutely the worst possible way at that evening.
Places and act up and don't get shot, and it's really impressive.
I feel like our squad is like the definition of fuck around and actually don't find out though.
Honestly and truly.
Seraphine's birth certificate, just like fuck around, find out.
That's Seraphine's actual middle name.
Like
Yeah.
on
The
Seraphine's
actual
head.
name, fuck around and find out.
On,
She's got
Seraph-
knuckle tattoos. Fuck around and find out.
on Seraphine's headstone, it'll read, "I fucked around and found out."
Fuck, fine. Which one do you want?
Do you want fuck around or do you want find out?
Oh.
Any favorite moments that didn't make it to air or that haven't aired yet?
The chicken game. The game of chicken at the water, for absolute certain. I loved that
was
scene.
fun.
That was so
That was
good. The party,
very good.
It was so good. So the first time the party went out of the Oxylux, and that happens at the end of the prologue. If you've gone back and watched some of our videos, we took a whole journey outside of the Oxylux. The blanking on the name of Viren's crew. They're like
The Morticians.
The Morticians. Thank you. Total brain fart, like, took us on this journey. We went to a roller coaster. We had to do a whole team building exercise. I loved that whole scene. The bonding moment between Aubergine and CB with the roller coaster. Loved that.
Right, speaking of prologue, the roller coaster moment was such a great moment.
So good. There was yeah.
All right, now I'm gonna let Maz finish because that's what I'm gonna tie on to that.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I was just gonna say that, like, we did a whole team building exercise where we had to all get to the top of a roller coaster and then get back down again. And then Aubergine and I had the genius thought of turning the roller coaster on. It was good.
My favorite moment. All right, so for those of you who didn't watch, very early on in the show's inception, we did have other people that were in the party, but there was one person for the roller coaster stunt. And everyone's trying to navigate their way up and then back down this rickety ass roller coaster that was just this like wooden death trap. And all of a sudden we all look up and see this person like skiing down the fucking tracks on her two legs, on her fucking Subarus, just bombing it down this track. And just it was just the wildest shit ever. No one thought of doing that. It was a team building exercise, so we were all kind of annoyed, but I will never forget how hard I fucking laughed when this person
rail grinding down.
just fucking rail grinding down this rickety ass roller coaster.
Teamwork.
You and someone else almost died.
2 people almost died. Yeah.
You almost fell like 90 feet.
Yeah.
Oh god, this is terrible.
I'm going.
It was just fucking ridiculous. Yeah. And then going back to the lake was so cool. Just being
The lake,
outside.
I wish we got to spend more time there, and maybe we will now that like the big major mission is done, because I love Slaughterhouse Bay. It was one of the first things that I designed for Bella Muerte. And for those of you who don't know, it's a man-made bay in the desert, in the middle of Death Valley. But as a result of like nuclear weather and exposure and things, the water is now phosphorescent, and it glows in the dark at night. And that's the kind of shit that I'm into.
It was a really cool experience. Oh, the carnival scene! Why I got Kid his bear!
We still
Yeah.
have to get an actual physical bear for Kid to have for Yellow, because that's still one of my favorite things.
Oh, so good.
Oh man, shout out to Yellow the bear.
Yellow the bear!
Shout out to Yellow the bear.
Yellow the bear is a real one.
It's so good.
Now I have a slightly more in-depth question for you guys. What's next for your character? You did the thing that you did your impossible mission, and you rescued the Black Mariah and an extra person that you weren't planning on, and now you're kind of in the aftermath of that. So what is next for you?
So there are 2 big things for me that immediately come to mind, and I touched on this a little bit at the end of the last session. CB is really concerned about the Oxylux, for sure. Especially because, like, after having that talk with Dr. Orlander about how it's failing or can fail, or the earthquake that could happen and the fault lines, all of that, he's really freaked out because, you know, Bella Muerte's his home, and so he wants to see if he could do anything to keep it safe. But for those of you who don't know, and nobody knows this but DK, CB had a baby sister who, for all he knows, died with his parents. I don't know if she's actually dead, and so I kind of want to look into that and see what happened to her.
Things are doable, I should think.
I'm going home.
You're gonna get in trouble.
I'm gonna catch the ass whoop of a lifetime.
Yep.
But I'm gonna go. And then you find out a really fun secret about Seraphine that only our DM knows. Stay tuned.
Excited.
But yeah, I'm gonna make it
determined
today.
Yeah, spoiler
Huh?
alert.
Yeah, I told her this morning. But no, I'm gonna pack up my place, so just a couple of essential things: my Bible, my guns, my records. I'm gonna pack up Abe because he's going too, and then I'm making a.
Pack him.
We're gonna get in the truck, and then we're gonna head out to Harlan County, where I'm about to catch these hands from my mom and
all your siblings.
7 of my 8 siblings. And I think Dinah and Big Douglas are probably going to be in the back seat of Stowaways. I'm not going to find out until we're halfway across the state, and then they're going to just pop out and scare the shit out of me, and then we're going to go home.
Special plans for Seraphine once you get home? Because I'm pretty sure that the Blooms and the St. Maries are definitely going to throw their annual block party early.
I mean, it's a black party.
Yeah.
No,
black party, whatever.
I'm gonna go home and see all the old stuff and hang out with my siblings and eat some of Pastor Jake's pancakes and make church. I gotta go to church, and then I gotta make fun of Pastor Jake's Duke Silver outfit. And then I'm gonna make pasta al oh no.
What?
For my siblings, for old time's sake, and then I'm gonna leave, and then not tell anybody where I'm staying. That way, I gotta hear about it. No, I'm just gonna enjoy being back home with my people that look like me, and get reacclimated to life as I used to know it, and from there, we'll see where the wind takes Seraphine St. Marie. I don't know. It's going to be kind of a culture shock being around family for the first time in a very, very long time, but I'm excited for it.
The over-under on how long it is before Seraphine's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here now.
I give it 3 days, 72 hours. Usually 72 hours. I'm normally it's 48 with the St. Marie clan, but I think I'm going to give it 72 because I've been gone for a long time. And that's only because Dinah's going to be there and Abe's going to be there, and I can hide out at the Bloom household.
Be a balance, yeah.
I mostly also want to see, because I know because Itzy Bloom definitely promised Abe a helicopter if he came home, but I know her and she's not getting him a fucking helicopter. So I want to see her when he gets that kick in the dick, fuck, I don't get a helicopter. So yeah,
mom his whole life, and she still falls for that shit every time.
He's just gonna be like, you lie to me all the time.
Abe's a lot of things. He's not a wise man.
He's not a wise man, but he knows what love is.
Also, I see what you did there.
I'm upset.
For those of you playing at home, Abe has basically moved into Seraphine's house at this point. He has an apartment in town and just doesn't go there anymore. So he's just sleeping on the floor of Seraphine's house and will be indefinitely.
Because I have a couch and he could sleep on the couch, but he just wants to be a badass and, no, it's okay. Just give me a blanket. But I don't give him a blanket, and he has to do that, that hoodie thing that you do when you're at your homie's house and they don't give you a blanket and you just gotta tuck into your sweater and just shiver. Yeah, he prefers
start yanking off cabinet doors and shit to cover your body from the wind.
Exactly. He prefers that in my home, which I still. Abe is a rare beast. I don't know. And you might be seeing Abe next time around, actual for realsies Abe. We're trying to work that out. A very special guest. We'll see.
That would be rad.
But yeah, that's kind of Seraphine's whole jam. I'm just stoked to go home. We got a playlist in the works that you guys will be able to check out so you can see what we're listening to on the way home. Kind of give you a glimpse into Seraphine's head a little bit, and then just what a road trip with Abe and Seraphine and Stowaways, Dinah and Big Douglas is like. Because I'm sure Big Douglas is going to want to throw some stuff onto the playlist too. But if it's a Rickroll kind of thing, then he's not allowed to add anything.
Him. You can't see him.
Can't stop him. Amazing.
Stuff is just gonna. It's just gonna be like Thackeray. Stuff's just gonna happen.
Basically, yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And I would like to invite everybody up to the St. Murray house for a couple days just to kind of see what everything is like. But first, I would just like a couple days with my people.
I bet Big Douglas
And
listens
Antigone's
to
going.
jazz.
Oh,
Big
Antigone
Douglas
has
is
to go.
Big Douglas is a big disco fan, which I'm putting in the chat right now.
I love that.
He
Sing
loves
some Bee Gees. Mhm.
He loves Donna Summer and the Bee Gees. He has seen Saturday Night Fever so many times.
It's a household staple. The Bee Gees do slap. The Bee Gees are absolutely incredible.
BJ's
I don't know.
fucking slap.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know why
Bee
in
Gees
2022
harder
we're
than
pretending
they had
that
a
disco
right
doesn't
to.
kick ass.
Nights on Broadway, that's the fucking jam.
Listen, me and my mom cannot cook without belting out tragedy.
Thank you.
Tragedy!
So good.
I don't know the words. I still sing it.
See, in our house, this Nights on Broadway, but we do the talking it up. The fucking very good talk show theme from SNL.
Yeah.
Which is still one of the best things that's ever happened on Saturday Night Live.
That is
Ever.
one of the only good things that Jimmy Fallon has ever done. I'm
Literally.
sorry.
He only does good
Literally.
things with Justin Timberlake.
Yep.
Justin Timberlake is too precious for this world when it comes to SNL. He needs to just be a regular cast member. The show would be way better with Justin Timberlake on there. And I need Barry to talk show every week.
He's got excellent improv
Barry
instincts.
gives his thoughts on everything. I mean, he's a crazy man and he'll, put you in the ground. But, Barry Gibb is a gift we don't deserve.
We don't deserve.
Also, I
And
lied.
the
Jimmy
Bee Gees
Fallon
are
did
way
one other
harder.
thing.
What?
Jimmy Fallon did one other good thing, and it was the movie Fever Pitch with Drew Barrymore because they ended up having a baby and naming that baby Yastrzemski after the player from the fucking Red Sox. Also,
Okay, also-
Drew Barrymore got hit in the face with a baseball in that movie, and it was pretty great.
That's always a good moment.
Also, Jimmy Fallon's first comedy album did have some funny ass bangers on it. Cause I'm an idiot.
Album?
I forget
that's
that
right.
he does that.
Me too.
Yep. Oh, I still have that on my iTunes to this day. Cause Idiot Boyfriend is a fucking
Yeah,
bop.
it is.
I got a Swanson's TV dinner with your name on it.
Name on it.
I feel like
Joke fans.
I'm gonna smack the couch.
I slept on this.
Aubergine is getting used to having a family again. And I feel like that is taking up a lot of her emotional space. But with that emotional space, there's also, I think she's struggling with putting herself out there more and maybe trying to get to know Jim Vane better. He's a child, so nothing will come of it. But like she needs to talk to other people. And also there's an undercurrent of rage at the Geiger because he stole precious years from her and her family. And I think she wants revenge.
That is doable.
Yeah. I think she's like 10 minutes away from going full on Inigo Montoya with the Geiger.
Fight the whole bureau.
Fair.
Yeah. You stole my family. Prepare to die.
Well, I am in theory. Your campaign on Sister Cities will be connecting in the next couple of weeks. And I can't promise audience when the crossover episode will happen because currently this campaign is 2 weeks behind Sister Cities. But as we sort of gel the timelines back together, there will be options for revenge and for learning new things and meeting new people who aren't Jem Fane's age. So all of those things are very much an option.
People who are grown-ups.
The 19-year-old will rule the world.
Plus, everyone in Beltsville is on Aubergine's vibe.
Yeah.
In the last episode, they were talking about getting a sign for the entrance of Beltsville that says, "Welcome to Beltsville, we're weird and invasive." And it's drag queens and musicians and artists and also the Confederacy of Violent Ends occasionally setting things on fire and blowing them up. So it's a good time for everybody.
Yeah.
Imagine that it looks like that scene in the 1996 Romeo and Juliet when homeboy from what's his face, Oz, and Lost is just turning up in this little outfit and everyone's dancing at the carnival.
Harold
That's what I imagine.
Perrineau. Is that
Yeah,
Harold Perrineau?
Harold Perrineau, yeah.
Be in the streets in Beltsville.
Yeah.
There's also like a clown core population in Beltsville. There's an entire core of drag queens that are all clowns. that are
Don't
all
like that.
themed after different colors.
I want to lead with, I don't ask for this, polka dot man, but the more you kept talking, the more I was like, it was like a kombucha girl moment where at first I was like, no, and then I was like,
The exact desired response, just, I don't know, well, maybe.
I love that
So
energy.
they were in the process of learning about some of those things and getting to know some of those people when all hell broke loose in their part of town. So we'll come back to that in Sister Cities, and maybe we'll go visit the clowns later.
send in the clown.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, sorry, I had to.
Here is a fun but difficult one. Who is your favorite NPC?
You mean aside from Dinah?
Dinah doesn't count. Dinah's me.
Big Douglas.
Fair.
Big Douglas, period. Point blank. No explanation needed.
Gash and Kid.
The Pink Ranger.
Also fair. Also very good.
Sorry, Abe.
answers.
Sorry, Abe. This bitch winks. You know, I mean, I'm sorry. You know, she winks. She gets hot. She can rescue shit. Is you
Sometimes
know.
she turns into a fucking pterodactyl. I mean, Abe can't do any of that shit.
Knows.
I'm very
Yeah.
excited for more development of CB and Gash's friendship. I love their friendship so much.
It's just two teen boys being like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing.
And we're
But
both like sharing things and surprising each other with like just the wildest shit from two different worlds. And I just,
Really interesting because you guys are both kind of surrounded by adults and process the world very differently than they do. But the adults are also just like, yeah, no, that's probably fine. Like, let's give him a gun. It's cool. I was going. Speaking of Big Douglas, he just had his first appearance in the other campaign 2 weeks ago.
oh my god, I'm
And-
so excited to see the reactions.
They met Big Douglas in their session 0.
Uh-huh.
They didn't meet him. He was there. He opened a door. But there has been hide nor tail of him since. And they were getting their asses handed to them during their 3rd week of combat. And at the very last minute, Dinah remembered that Big Douglas was just waiting in the fucking car while everyone else was getting shot up and made him bring her backpack. And everyone kind of forgot for a minute that she does have an imaginary friend and his name is Big Douglas and he does go everywhere with her. So it was just Dinah talking to the open air while other people were bleeding and trying to get patched up and things. So I'm glad that he's back in the campaign now because I really missed getting to narrate the stuff that he is doing.
Such a
Douglas
fun
Henry.
character.
He has mechanics and stuff too. Well, I mean, Dinah's class has mechanics. She's technically, you can know now because it's on the overlay in the other campaign. She is, among other things, a Pact of the Imagination Warlock. So BD can do stuff. He can physically manage. I think he can attack actually.
Can I ask if we're at that point where we're allowed to know, like, what is Big Douglas mechanically?
You are not allowed to know what that is mechanically.
Fair enough.
Nope.
That's okay. I just thought I'd ask.
Mm-hmm.
I am very excited to
He is
find
just
out.
there.
I'm very excited to
Can
find
you
out eventually.
imagine like being assaulted by fucking air? Just this big, person-sized, mass that you can't see just knocks you on, just complete rocks your shit. How do you recover from that? How do you tell people like, yeah, this is Big Douglas? Who's Big Douglas? I don't know what he looks like.
Can you imagine? You're just standing there, and all of a sudden, somebody slaps you with the force of Will Smith, and you can't see anything.
So yeah, Big Douglas is just get jiggy with you. You can't see him. You can't defend yourself.
Like the perfect second in command. Just, hey, I just need you to go punch that guy hard as shit in the back of his head real quick.
Big
What-
Douglas energy.
When I think of Big Douglas, I haven't put like a detailed picture of him in my head yet, but I imagine someone very tall and like a cartoon like curved like a ghost shape with arms and a little backpack and just having a good time. I haven't thought beyond that, but when I think Big Douglas, that is like the silhouette in my head. That makes me happy.
Okay,
It's funny you say that because in my head he looks like the bubble guy from SpongeBob.
Yes!
Okay, no,
Bubble
see-
Buddy!
I'm seeing Frankenstein from the Groovy Ghoulies.
I love that image! Oh, that's awesome.
I love hearing what people think that Big Douglas looks like.
He's
I
like,
assume you have a pin board for him. What game?
I do not.
No, I said Big Douglas is like Bigfoot. No one knows what the fuck he looks
Nobody
like.
knows.
Cryptid.
He's just there. He just vibing. He brought snacks. Just wants you to have, the best day possible. Live your best life. He's a solid best friend. We really only have one more question, and it's kind of along the same lines as the question about what's next for your character, but it's a broader question, I guess, which is what do you want to see more of in the next leg of the campaign? Or what do you want to see that you haven't seen before?
I think CB's ready to see as much of outside the Oxylux as possible. Sorry, food in my mouth. Because now that he knows that he won't die if he leaves and there's other things and people, he is tired of being trapped under a bubble. If he doesn't have to be there, he doesn't want to be there.
Okay. Looking for, like, big open world exploration kind of a thing.
100%.
Okay.
Like, CB doesn't mind being in Bella Muerte because it's where he grew up, and he's happy to, like, still have that be his home, which is why he's so bent on protecting it. But the fact that another world outside of that exists, and there's, like, just more information to consume and experience, that's his whole shit.
Me, I have something for you all. Is the
Ooh.
region map of North America.
Oh, you fancy now.
We got a map.
It's just North America right now because I have to look at the world on a rotating axis and figure out what else is gone. But what you are looking at, basically all of the red areas were either directly hit or just so adversely affected that no one can live there. And then the Argonne sector is owned by somebody who's not Byron Thrice. It's a different department of the conglomerate. Where you folks live is the oceanfront. You've got the capital down in Bella Muerte, and then there's a fort a little bit further up in British Columbia. The Arctic is your next door neighbor. The Crucible is where Seraphine and Dinah are from, and not a whole lot is known, at least for your purposes, about the Bygones and the Hollow yet, but you have an opportunity to learn about those things.
Can I put this on the stream?
Yeah.
Cool. This is awesome. This is the coolest.
Great map, man.
Great map.
Need
I
a
know.
year to figure out what the fuck the map was supposed to look like, to be perfectly honest.
I know you
How
said
exciting.
that you have to figure out the rest of the world, but how interesting would it be if the entire rest of the world was like, hey, America's at nuclear war with itself. We're staying the fuck out of it. And, like, it's just business as usual everywhere else.
That's actually a really good that's a good point. I always wondered what the rest of the world was doing, and that would actually be a cool thing to see going forward, like how the rest of the world has responded to this and what the rest of the world looks like, because like Jordan just said, like for all we know, it's business as usual for them. They still have like Kanye West and like the Will Smith slap and shit, and like we're still 20 years behind everybody. So I want to know what the rest of the world's rocking on right now.
It sounds like getting to actually like step out into the world outside of Bella Muerte and just kind of see what's up. Seems like the vibe.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I would definitely love to do other exploration within Bella Muerte as well, because I would like to show off those other parts of the city, because all of Bella Muerte is very cool. But definitely, like, for my character, exploring outside for sure.
No, I was going to say, I know that we spent, like, a year in the woods.
Yeah, that's true.
In real lifetime. But I loved everyone that we met in the woods, and would love to see them again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're still just kicking it in the woods, too.
Yeah.
They're still just vibing there, so... if you guys, you guys are heading into like kind of a downtimey period, just as a whole. So you can pick a couple of things that just like, I want to go see Texas, and then, well, Texas isn't really there anymore, but you get my drift. Then we can sort of figure out what that looks like and what road tripping across the country looks like and who's going to watch your houses and stuff. And CB's got school coming up, so CB is going to have to schedule that around assignments,
Classes and homework, yeah.
Wondering, and I kind of want to see going forward Like, you know how in movies like Ocean's 11, when they all finish their mission and like everyone is done and they try to go back to real life and it's really fucking hard and they want to go back and do more crime. I wonder if that's what it's going to be like when we kind of scatter to the four winds, like when Seraphine goes back home to Harlan County. Like, I've been gone from Harlan County for longer than I actually lived in Harlan County now. And so I wonder what it's going to look like trying to reacclimate and assimilate into that when I've been living in, you know, Valhalla. Like, I've had my own little house, my own shit, everything. You know, I've been pretty isolated from everybody. And I wonder if I'm going to get that itch to go out and start shooting things and like start like doing crime things and, you know, fucking with the system and everything like I was. Because I can't imagine like being gone from home for that long and then coming back home and then just trying to be a regular person in a human suit.
No, I think Aubergine is definitely gonna do more crimes because if you think about the trajectory of her life, right? Like she was this rock star with all these friends and blah blah blah, and then the war happened, and like her best friend got taken by the police, her best friend's baby got taken by the police, her partner died of particle sickness. So then she just had this weird like piecemeal like day to day existence that didn't really mean a lot. And she got a lot of meaning out of going to do crimes, right? And like rescuing her best friend from prison, which is awesome. But now they're back and like, even though they're family, she's not part of that family. What's going to give her meaning at this point? And for her, the thing that most recently gave her meaning was going to do crimes.
Fighting the man, yeah.
Yep.
There is absolutely more crime to be had on a much larger scale as we move forward.
I feel like the party has... Sorry, what?
I said, yeah, hell yeah.
I feel like the party has big leverage energy.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean,
with that, I would 100% concur with that. That energy is just like, I'm good at crime.
Yep.
I just like fucking shit up with my friends, you know?
I'm glad to do it for a good cause, but goddamn, I'm good at crime.
Crime's just my favorite. It's just my hobby. It's what I do to relax.
Mm-hmm.
Crime connoisseurs.
Be gay, do crimes.
Mm-hmm.
Life motto. Words to live by. It's so nice seeing the little map on the bottom of the overlay.
Yeah! I was
It's just
having
a
to put
little
it
guy.
up. It's good.
He's just a little guy. Oh, that actually, I have one with a key on it too that I can give you guys later. That actually, you don't. So that way you don't have to remember what all the icons and shit are.
Dope.
But yeah, for reference, all of that yellow shit, most of the bygones is either uninhabitable or very, very rough terrain because the whole eastern seaboard got fucked. So that's why there's so much red on that side of the country, is because the water is not potable. Also,
So basically everything is New Jersey.
yes, yes.
Everything is New Jersey.
Oh, God.
Can that
Our
please
brother
be a
was
shirt?
born in New Jersey, guys.
I'll put it in the merch ideas chat. Everything is New Jersey.
Maine is just like a hole. There's no Maine. I don't know what Stephen King's doing now in this universe, but it's gone.
Oh, Stephen King.
He's probably honestly still in the fucking woods in what remains of Maine. I wouldn't put that past Stephen King. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else important about the map that I'm forgetting.
What's the deal with, like, the border with Canada?
So, it's kind of been erased. Canada, or North America, has been split up between the Radon sector and the Argonne sector. So the green patch it's not technically owned by Canada exactly, but by another department of the conglomerate that manages that and then other things north of North America.
So is the Bureau, like, only our continent? Is it, like, global, or is it just our nation?
The Bureau is global.
The Bureau is global, okay.
The conglomerate is sort of like the new UN. So it's all of the surviving nations have agreed to a very intense mutually assured destruction clause, and the Bureau is the enforcing arm of the conglomerate. So each region will have a Geiger, and then it'll be broken down further and further depending on where in the region they are and what kind of situations are happening in that region. So like you have the stratum in Bella Muerte, there is also a stratum in the Crucible region. But they answer to the stratum that works out of the capital, which is where you guys live.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
it's still like a military system. It's the ranks are just different.
Yeah, so with the nuclear fallout, they just, all of the countries kind of, they can't be countries anymore because half of their land is gone anyway.
And in terms of the part of Canada that we do have, it's just part of that seaboard of the ocean front. They couldn't give all of Canada to the radon sector because it's too much territory to cover just for any one group. So they divided it kind of into two. I think that's, what is that? That's Alberta, British Columbia, and Vancouver and Yukon territory. Everything that's like attached to where Alaska was or follows that kind of contour of the country is radon sector territory. And then everything outside of that, ultimately. Hawaii is not on this map, but is also part of the ocean front. It's still there.
Is there more than one Geiger? To help?
Yeah, there's a Geiger for each sector.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. I'm assuming they all talk to each other.
Yeah. So it's sort of like how every country has a different world leader.
Like prime minister or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, prime minister, or president, or whatever. It's all the same position. They just function differently according to like what's in the region or what problems the region is facing. Like the Geiger in like the European Geiger has a much different situation than Geiger Thrice because Europe is fucked. A huge
like
chunk
physically?
of Europe. Yeah, Russia's destroyed. And everything that was connected to that sea around Russia is gone because the waters rose and then were also unpotable. So there are just big chunks all over Europe that are either completely uninhabitable or nothing grows or there's some kind of like environmental toxin or danger that they're facing on top of trying to also lead their city. America, all things considered, got off pretty lightly in the war. There were a few major spots that were actually like sites of battle, but for the most part, it's just aftermath things in America.
Woof.
Yee.
Woof.
And then all those little forts are where the draftees get shipped off to for their region to start their ticket.
For training or for deployment?
Mm-hmm. No. Both.
Both. Man. Can we just talk about like how much world building has been done?
All the world building.
It's
all
incredible.
I
really appreciate you. This game is so much fun. The world you've built is so incredible and vibrant and real and full. And that's why I want to leave Bella Muerte, because I want to see the rest of the world you've built.
As a universe, you know, magazines and movie posters and shit, stuff you guys haven't even seen before. It's insane for a D&D game. It's fucking bananas.
DK's been releasing like all kinds of lore, like Ganna said, movie posters for Sister Cities. There's a character, if you don't watch Sister Cities, named Bunny Bishop, played by our friend Sydney, who was an actress. Her mom was an actress, and so there's movies posters that DK has created to showcase like the history of that existence in this universe. It's just
follow us at coffee.com/cadaverxplease. You can read the reviews of all 4 of the movies and see the alternate poster for one of the movies as well.
Well, I have 2 questions for the DM before we wrap. One question is, when do we get to meet that friend we were talking about?
You're going to give me more than that. There is too much information in my head.
So many friends.
Who will be joining Sister Cities this evening?
Oh. Probably when you go home.
Okay.
Yeah, probably when you go home. Because Morgana and I were sitting around the other day and we were talking about Dinah and Seraphine's background and came up with an NPC who I think is my favorite of all time.
He's incredible.
Time allowing, he will be introduced tonight in Sister Cities, but as this person is from both Dinah and Seraphine's past, Morgana's asking when Seraphine gets to see this person again. Probably when you go home, because he should be there.
Secrets.
Excited. It is. And then we need to explain to you all how this person came about, because the conversation is absolutely fucking ridiculous. And then my other question is, what do you hope to see going forward?
I hope to see going forward one, I do want to take you guys through some of the larger parts of the world, just to kind of go through like what's the weather like in different places, what places have oxyluxes and what doesn't, what are the different regions like. I want you guys to get to see kind of how each of these regions is their own little universe unto themselves. So like even everything from the landscape to whether or not they have an oxylux to the fashion is completely different per region. So you won't see anybody in the Crucible wearing shit like you see in Bella Muerte. As opposed to Bella Muerte being all like neons and synthetic fabrics and shit that lights up. In the Crucible, it's more like practical, warm prairie style fabrics. There's a lot of faux fur. There are a lot of like deep, rich colors. And I kind of like getting to contrast all of the different regions against each other. So I'm really excited for you guys to really get to see the rest of the country now that you've done your big mission. I'm trying to figure out how to answer this question without giving anything away. Is my
the struggle.
Yeah, you caught me. I was trying to get some intel.
I know. You've been my sister my whole life. There will be opportunities moving forward for a much larger scale and less personal kind of crime.
Into that?
That is really all I can say without giving anything away for you or for the other cast yet. But you will have a chance to do some extremely big damn hero shit shortly. So I'm excited to get to finally introduce that. But to introduce that, I have to introduce it in the other campaign first because they're in the future. So
my friend again.
Mask?
Oh, I was going to say, like, talking about the other campaign, it kind of brings me to a question that I've been wanting to ask you, because you're running very different vibes with each campaign, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Bella Muerte has no art. Art is illegal in Bella Muerte. We, you know, like Aubergine was mentioning, when the war was over, you know, they took away art, and her career was obviously done, and as well as a lot of, like, every other musician that is still here in Bella Muerte. So it's a much... What I love about these campaigns is the contrast between this party tries to be goofy with each other and be light because the environment they're in is so difficult and so dark and so basically just a fight every day. I love that about this section of the story. And then with Sister Cities, it's a little bit of the opposite, where, you know, art is still very prominent. There's artists, there's musicians, there's, you know, all of this kind of freedom there. And I know that the cast that you are working with Sister Cities, their storylines are their characters struggle a lot. In face of that. And I wanted to ask you, like, running Sister Cities where art is very free, and then running Bella Muerte where you're not allowed to have it. Like, how has that been?
This is kind of... It's a much bleaker tone campaign-wise than yours is, despite the fact that they do... Beltsville is a utopia. Beltsville was an independent community that was established about 10 years before the war broke out. So in their campaign, Beltsville is coming up on its 20th birthday. And aside from the Beltsville massacre and the events that just took place in their campaign over the last couple of weeks, nothing has really happened there. The only crime is the Confederacy of Violent Ends, which is played by myself and the party. They don't really run into any... There's no bureau presence whatsoever in the city. They remain completely exclusive from pretty much everything else that is happening. The one time someone came to try and draft their kids, 6 people died, and they still didn't get their draftees. So it's... I think it's... Everyone is kind of in their own sort of tunnel vision regionally. I think the difference between the party and the ends is that the party all came from places of struggle in one way or another. Either, you know, whether it's in the case of Seraphine being from a huge family that was often stricken by poverty, or by CB growing up in the reformatory, or Aubergine having a career and then having that career taken away from her. Everyone came into your mission from a place of struggle. Everyone came into your mission having seen some shit and not wanting to see that shit anymore. As opposed to sister cities where there really was no conflict in Beltsville. It was a lot of parties, it was a lot of music, it was a lot of joy, certainly, but the people of Beltsville are not necessarily prepared to deal with wide-scale conflict the way that everyone else in the country is, especially because, as far as geography goes, Beltsville is insulated by 3 other communities. So anyone who's coming to Beltsville has to go through one of these other 3 communities first, which usually buys Beltsville time and buys Beltsville space to kind of get away with things, because they are still in full violation of the law.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Beltsville is in full violation of the law, and that is why shit is happening in their campaign right now, is that they continued on after the massacre as they were, and that's totally fine, and it's worked out for them up until now, but they are blatantly spitting in the face of the most dangerous man in the country with their actions. And I think really that is the major difference between sister cities and Till Death Do Us Party, is that in Till Death Do Us Party, from the jump, you guys were like, no, I'm good on the police. I'm good on that. I'm good on interacting with them. I'm good on upsetting them. I'm good on being accosted by them. There was immediately a very healthy fear of the Bureau, because you guys have lived in the city with them. You live in the capital, so the presence is like 10 times what it is anyplace else. So you have a very innate and intimate knowledge of the Bureau and the way that it works and how easy it is to just get plucked off the street, as opposed to Beltsville, where they don't even have Bureau radio playing. So they are very much insulated from the rest of the world, and it may or may not affect how they interact with the rest of the world, and 2, how they are able to process the world around them as it changes and begins to look a little bit more like the world that you all are used to.
Has it been interesting kind of watching that cast realize, like, slowly, like, absorb that impending, like, increasing heat, I should say?
It's the weird thing about being the DM of this universe in particular, is that because it's not strict D&D or like Kids on Bikes or Monster Hearts 2 or any of those, you can't just wave a problem away with magic.
Right.
Which I think is the solution to a lot of things in D&D game. Is just, okay, and then a god comes down from the sky and fixes it. And because we have committed so hard to the realism of this oppressive force, it's much harder to do that. It's much harder to just kind of shrug off whatever is going on. I think I will say in their last episode, I think realizing exactly what the Bureau is capable of is something that Beltsville hadn't really experienced. They know that they came 5 years prior because they were in violation of the law, and it was something that they always expected could happen. What has happened to them in the last couple of weeks is something completely beyond the pale that nobody was ready for. And I don't just mean the players. I mean, nobody in that town was prepared for something bad to happen. And that's the difference, I think, between them and the rest of the world, is that everywhere else, bad things happen every day. But in Beltsville, with the exception of, these 2 days, life is pretty good. Life is pretty comfortable. People can be who they are. They can explore what they want to be. There was an ethical brothel where people could go and figure their shit out. So there are no sex crimes in town. They have very much found a way to create a society that feeds off of itself. So they're unprepared in a lot of ways because they haven't been exposed to those dangers on a regular basis. So it'll be interesting to see how they process that. Because I'm still processing it as the DM, trying to figure out the line between, like, this is what would really happen and we are still playing a game and people are still having fun. We'll see. I don't know. But it should be, at the very least, it should be interesting. Hopefully, I don't know. Tune in later tonight at 8:00 and find out. I know what my notes look like, but I can't tell you and the audience that. So you're just gonna have to trust me.
I think it'll be really interesting when we see the two casts meet. What do you guys think?
Oh,
I think so. I think it'll be fun.
Well, Bunny and Aubergine know each other.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You guys are already homies.
Yep. I think I'm like seeing an old friend.
That's gonna be really cool.
Also, the military itself has been built out a lot more, which you will see as you move forward. I now understand let me tell you a secret about me as a DM. A lot of the time, I just write down the name for something on a piece of paper and walk away from it for like 3 weeks, and then figure out what the fuck, why is it named that, and then I just try and justify that.
You work backwards from that.
I am 100% Icarus, building my wings on the way down to the fucking ground every single time. So a lot of the time I have a vague idea of what the answer is, but either haven't fleshed it out exactly the way that I wanted to, or am trying to come up with a cool name for something. That's also part of the reason this big map took so long, is that I wanted the regions to have cool names. So until I could determine those, no one was getting a map.
DK comes up with the coolest names, to be honest, though.
Of naming conventions. They are my favorite. There is a new group that's about to be, or new family that's about to be introduced in the other campaign that has, I think, potentially my most ridiculous naming convention yet, and it is my favorite. So I'm very excited to get to meet them, and we will be having a guest play one of those people in a couple of weeks. So that's also very exciting. There's also that we are going to be doing a lot more with guests on both shows in the coming months. We have some folks who are going to do some pre-recorded stuff. We're going to do some epilogues in between legs of each campaign, and there's some fun people, y'all. The Give Me the Loot podcast has all thrown their hats in the ring to come hang out since they all know Jordan. So that's definitely happening. And then Jordan and I have some friends that are coming. And then one or two folks from Q Times will also be joining us on either this show or the other at some point. So stick around for those things, because they're going to be very exciting. In theory.
Maybe we'll get Navarre in here threatening to shoot people in the face.
I have a character sheet for Navarre. I have a character sheet for Navarre. I asked Navarre about this like 6 months ago and was just like, I don't know when they're getting out of the woods, so I'll get back to you.
You were in the woods for 5 ever.
Yeah, so it definitely, there is a character sheet for Navarre. There is a vague plan for who Navarre will be and all of that good shit. So I'm also very excited about that, because playing with Navarre is super fun.
Yes, Navarre's fantastic.
You can also catch Navarre on this channel a little bit later this year in an as of yet unannounced game that he will be playing in regularly with some other friends of ours. So keep an eye out for announcements on that.
Exquisite Corpse has a lot of cool shit coming up.
And then we got to get Brian in here, because I have to hear a Wild Wild West in every game now. I'm sorry.
Well, I told you what I want Brian for.
Brian, listen.
Yes, you did.
Brian comes to every game with a set playlist of lyrics and songs at any moment.
Good. Especially, it's the character that Morgana and I were talking about before that we designed together. That's who we want Brian for, because I think he would be absolutely fantastic at it.
Oh, he's
hilarious.
Whatever it is, he's in.
Good. I'm gonna have to message Brian and just be like, hey, do you have a Saturday to come just be absurd?
Yeah.
That'd be very exciting.
How has it been for you, like, incorporating guest spots? It must be so much fun to kind of creatively weave into the story.
Fun, but I also played myself designing a universe that's 100% homebrew, because in order to explain who I want people to play, I have to explain how the universe works first. So I have to explain, like, yeah, dog, there's no magic. Figure that shit out. So there's always like a
learning curve at the beginning.
It's a lengthy learning curve. I mean, for you all, it was different because we just hit the ground running. Sister City's got a lot of background lore about their region and about just some of the people and places in their town. Moving forward, as far as guests go, basically what I do when I have a guest is they get like a write-up of who the character is they also get their character sheet, but it's secondary to whatever the character's vibe is. So it's honestly scheduling a bunch of people all over the country is a fucking nightmare. I will tell you that right now. That is why we have not had more guests. It's because sometimes people are in Brussels and I can only move the time of the show so much, fam. So we're working around that in the future. But that is why we have not had more friends on with us, aside from Spencer and Bree, who are wonderful and always down to roleplay for the cause.
So good.
Do I have any other questions? I don't think I do. I think.
We could throw it to the chat for a little bit. We've got probably about, you want to do like 20 more minutes?
Yeah.
If the chat
Do you have any questions for us, or well, for me or for the players?
Well, they're thinking of questions. I wanted to ask you, like, how has it been for you when adapting D&D? We talked a little bit about this, but not really much, like, on stream or for content, whatever. Like, you talked about how the world is magic. How has it been translating 5e with non-magic? All arcana in our world is technology, and so I'm curious, like, how you've been. What is that experience like for you as a DM?
I enjoy it because I like mechanics. I like crunchy shit. I like translating something from one form to another. It's also kind of a nightmare because a lot of the reason that people come to D&D is to be able to do cool magical shit. So the question becomes making sure that the quality of technology that's replaced magic in this universe is high enough to be of the same caliber. Whether it's items that do cool stuff or new abilities or homebrew subclass bullshit. It's more just a matter of one, making it make sense, and two, making sure that it's still fun.
Mm-hmm.
The use of nanomite technology and
that was such a fun scene when we first discovered that. That was cool.
Nanomites and augmented reality have been a huge help. Hardcore Coco wants to know, do I have the whole story written or am I writing as I go? Yes. It's a little bit of both. There are specific things in the world for each character, and each kind of thread of plot that each character has, whether or not we've gotten to them yet. Obviously the plot changes as we go based on choices that characters make, but there are sort of like built-in save points in every campaign that the players are unaware of, where I could ask them a totally innocuous question, and depending on the answer to that question, the entire next 3 episodes might change. So I try to have like a sort of bumpers. I have basic plot beats, things that they need to hit, things that are going to be coming into the world as they go, and people that they need to meet, things they need to pick up, things they need to acquire. There's a running plot, but I try to leave room for the cool organic things that happen at the table. I try to leave room for the players to take agency and to see things in the world that I have put in and forgotten about, or that I haven't looked at from that angle yet.
I think it's the classic DM thing, right? Where you write your story and you say A, B, and Q have to happen. Yep. Now, anything in between A, B, and Q, that's fine. And my player said this really weird thing and I'm not going to let them get away with it. So we've got to come back and bring that back around before we hit the end too.
So I have pages of me going over my own notes and coming back and being like, nope, fuck this. And whatever I'm changing that to. And again, it does change based on what players decide. Sometimes I have specific things written that don't make it in because players make different choices that sort of pull us away from whatever that plot hook is. They're always still in the universe, but it really does just depend on how hands-on players are with the universe that they're in. How much they want to see, what questions they're asking, how much they want to explore. Sometimes that does change the plan. Like for Sister Cities in particular, a lot of the stuff that's coming up for them has shifted or altered slightly because of the events of their campaign in the last 3 weeks and some of the major choices that were made in the heat of the moment that now have to be kind of ironed out in the aftermath of their fight. Yeah, so a little bit of both. I try to write as much as I can ahead of time as far as just background and things that are in the world and things that I need to describe and how I need to describe them. But I try to give my players agency. I try to give them the space to like, okay, I know I need to do this, but how doing the thing is gone about is always up to the player. So hopefully it's a good mix of me keeping things on the rails and players trying to drive this motherfucker right back off the rails. Zan also asked in chat, do I have a different playlist for each region? Absolutely. 100%. There is, well, either for each region or for certain NPC groups in each region. We haven't touched on it a great deal in this campaign, but in each of the regions of America in like the early 90s of this universe, there were like groups of artists that were basically like the Brat Pack. And each of them was based off of like the fairy courts. So in Bella Muerte, where our party is from, it's the Summer Court of Old Ceasefire, which is the old name of Bella Muerte. So they have a very specific like 90s grungy kind of Sonic Youth, placebo circa Cruel Intentions kind of vibe. There's a lot of like girl groups, there's a lot of riot girl music, there's a lot of just kind of like unrefined music almost. The sort of music that pretty much everybody here grew up listening to and grew up, going to concerts for. There's also a really heavy pop punk influence in Bella Muerte in particular, as you can hear in our theme song, as opposed to the Crucible, which is very Appalachian. There's a lot of banjo. There are a lot of deep voiced men. There's some Delta blues, a little bit of Patsy Cline. I guess I could pull up the playlist and look at it. I could probably do that.
Can I vote for more Patsy Cline?
You always vote for more Patsy Cline.
I fucking love Patsy Cline, you guys.
Patsy Cline's a fucking G.
She is a G.
She is. I love how much of this, the fact that this universe is so inspired by music. When DK first, like this was years ago, DK and I have been best friends for a while, but when she first told me about Say a Prayer for California and how it's, one of the major things it was inspired by was My Chemical Romance, obviously. But she was just, one of the biggest things that she and I ever connected on was music. And so when she talked to me about Say a Prayer for California and how it's all like so vastly inspired by music, it was so... I think, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think it's so easy to connect to that. If you are passionate about music, it's easy to connect to this story in this world because, especially the way that DK's been talking about it right now, it's so intrinsically connected to music. And I love that.
Links in the chat. The first one is for the Bella Muerte playlist, and then this one is for the Crucible. And don't worry about keeping track of these links. Within the next week or so, all of the playlists for both of these campaigns will be uploaded to the Exquisite Corpse Presents website, because along with Seraphine's road trip playlist, CB has made a playlist. All of the members of the Confederacy of Violent Ends have made their own playlists, and then there are playlists for different NPC groups who will be playing more prevalent parts as we move forward.
Pretty sure I have an Aubergine playlist and I forgot to send you the link. Whoop!
That's okay. We got time. And then we'll just put everything up at once. I'm really big on hyperlinking and shit, so I will take the time to organize it all. Jordan, you've seen my notes. It's gonna look like that.
Yep.
Yeah, but Mouse is 100% right. Music is a huge part, not just of this campaign, but of the way that I write in general. Each NPC, of which there are like 130 right now, each has their own kind of musical sub genre that represents them in my head, just so I can kind of keep track of where they are in relation to everyone else. Also, one of the playlists, I keep forgetting about this. One of the playlists is not just me adding songs. If you are watching Sister Cities, then you have heard mention of the Gunpowder Diplomats. There is a Gunpowder Diplomats playlist that has been contributed to by Bree, who plays me and Morgana's sister Sissy. So that will be up as well. Music has been huge, not just music, but subculture has been huge. Morgana and I grew up in subculture. Morgana taught me how to two-step and how to survive in a mosh pit. My very first mosh pit collapsed and I got kicked in the head and it was fantastic. And I sort of never grew out of that. I mean, now I have, because who's going to pay my insurance? But in theory, I'm still really into going into pits and getting in fights. I'm just geriatric now. The way my bones are set up, I can't be getting kicked in the stomach anymore. But it was the culture of going to concerts. It was hanging out in the smoke pit, even though we were too young to smoke, because the bands hung out right next to the smoke pit, and getting to just go up to the front woman of Walls of Jericho, and very weirdly, mind you, I would not do this now, ask her for a hug, which she gave me. There's just something about show culture that is very, very special, and something about knowing that you can fall in a mosh pit full of 200 people and someone is immediately going to pick you up and find your shoe and hold it up until you circle back around. There's a really, really deep sense of protection in that. And I think that's something that's really hard to explain to people who don't mosh necessarily, or who don't go to like metal and hardcore shows, is that there is a sense of camaraderie. Yes, it's sanctioned violence against other people, but to an extent, enough to let out some aggression without like mortally wounding anyone. I don't know, just subculture has always been something that fascinates me, and it's always been something that's been really prevalent in my life and in my sister's life.
I've been in a mosh pit where I lost my phone and then somebody just reached out above the crowd and held it up. So yeah, absolutely, that's the vibe.
You just wait for a hand to pop up with whatever shit you lost, and somebody always has it. Nobody keeps it. Everyone just wants to make sure that everyone is having the best time possible. And I think that's such a wild dichotomy of like, I'm going to the show and I'm gonna hit people and I'm gonna hit them hard because I had a bad week, but also we might go to Denny's afterward and hang out with the band.
Beautiful controlled chaos.
Yeah, I just love the way things break down over time. I love the way you start with one thing or one genre, and as different people get their hands on it, it becomes something else entirely. You can still see the original thing or the outline of the original thing, but it changes so fundamentally that it becomes its own sub-genre. And I love that. I think that's one of the coolest things about music. And I just really wanted to write 2 campaigns that focused on how important music and art are, like as just a part of the world, and kind of explore what the world would look like without music and art, because as far as I'm concerned, art is the only true record of history, because it's the only unbiased record of history. It is exactly what the painter saw at the time or felt at the time. If you look at the painting of Guernica, you are in that moment. You are a part of what's happening. And I can't really fathom living in a world where I'm having a bad day and I can't go put on my Ho Shit playlist on Spotify and take selfies and act a fool and embarrass my family to kind of get through whatever I'm going through, because it's not allowed. And I really wanted to kind of play with the notion of how important art actually is and how we use it to navigate and interpret the world around us, I guess.
And what the world would look like without it. For sure.
Bleak. Just bad. Also, yes, I did definitely read Tank Girl. I love Tank Girl. Also, the shirt that Maz is talking about is not just a Tank Girl shirt, it's a T Fury shirt, so it's a mashup. It is in the Tank Girl style. I have 2, actually. I have one that is the Joker in the Tank Girl style. So he's got like a shaved head and like side patches and is otherwise a Tank Girl character. But I think the one Maz is talking about is my Imperator Furiosa Tank Girl shirt, which is one of my favorite shirts ever.
It's such a good shirt. That is the shirt I meant, yes.
It is. I love T-Fury, y'all, and most of the actual physical t-shirts that I own are from that website. I have a problem.
It's very badass.
I love mashups. I love this thing and this thing together. I also have the Smiths shirt that's not really a The Smiths shirt. It's Morrissey as the Hulk.
That's excellent. I didn't know you had that shirt. That's rad.
It's part of a whole series that came out a few years ago. I want to get the rest of them because there's Scarlet Witch as Susie Sue. And I think there's a Bowie one. There were a couple, and they're all Marvel characters. It was a really cool series that came out a few years ago. And I will never be able to let it go. So eventually I am going to own all of those shirts. But remind me, at some point I'll wear my Miles as the Hulk shirt. Because as much as I fucking hate Morrissey, I love the Smiths. And I love the Hulk.
I think that was a lost opportunity to call him the Sulk.
See what you did there. We're gonna go with that. It's the Sulk shirt now. I'm not giving you an inspiration point for that.
I want my inspiration point right now.
No, absolutely not. Behind the scenes, y'all, Morgana, since getting her first inspiration point on camera, anytime she says anything funny to me, demands an inspiration point for me in real life.
I think I have an inspiration point from way back.
I can't help that I'm clever outside of the game too. Okay, I should be.
You would have like 25 inspiration points. You don't need that many.
Can confirm Dinah's hysterical.
Agreed, but also you can't. No, you can only get inspiration points in the game.
DM, you can do whatever you want. I'm your sister.
That's what I want. What I want is for you to get the points in the game when other people can hear your cleverness. I can talk to you anytime, and I will, and I do.
Nepotism has to work for something, okay?
I mean, that's true. I'll think about it.
So I'm getting my inspiration.
I think it would depend on the scale of the goof. It depends on how hard I laugh, I think, whether or not you get an inspiration.
Come on, the Sulk, Morrissey.
But I set you up for the slam dunk on that one.
No, that was all me, dog. Don't take credit for my cleverness. Don't try to shoehorn your way in there.
Sulk joke if I hadn't brought up my sick t-shirt?
Yes.
Liar. Don't lie to the people.
At some point I would have brought it up.
We'll see about that. We'll see.
I'm gonna run this by mom later.
Don't go to mom. Also, I can call her too. I can call her before you. And just be like, hey, Gana's gonna call and tell you some right fucking bullshit. So don't listen to that. Listen to me.
I'm just gonna keep track of my points and then just give you an invoice at the end of the game.
I can't wait to see how many inspiration points you think you have.
I'm just gonna give myself these points and then just give them and then just submit them in like a little invoice, and then you can reimburse the points. You can run me my points. All right.
Now I'm picturing you sitting alone in your house and like thinking a joke to yourself and being like, ha ha, and just like doing an imaginary tick in the air and like getting out a little ledger and making another note.
Oh, that's such a Gana thing to do.
Myself is none of your business. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm right, or
it's just none of your business.
That's what I thought. It's okay. It's okay. We're all friends here.
Inspiration points. We're not friends.
We have a channel on our like the cast's personal section of the Discord for like merch ideas, and I'm going back and forth and seeing all of the great quotes from this leg of the campaign, and it's funny. And just the Pink Ranger added to the initiative is one of the funniest moments that has ever happened, and watching Gana with the Pink Ranger is one of my favorite things about the show.
Love that I was able to include something from our real childhood in Seraphine's character. Mm-hmm. That's still one of my favorite things. Also, just because I had no plans for Kimberly mechanically. So again, just building my wings on the way down and deciding, she can do this once a day. Once a day, she can be a pterodactyl. It's fine. So that is one of the fun things about DMing homebrew shit, is that I'm just like, she can't do a lot of damage, but she can be a very small plane. It's all good.
Can you, if you wouldn't mind, would you share the story of like the actual story of the Pink Ranger?
Yeah. When we were very, very small, it wasn't actually a Pink Ranger at all. It was the Yellow Ranger, right, Gana?
Karate chop.
Was it the Yellow Ranger?
Yeah, it was Trini.
Morgana let me borrow her Yellow Ranger action figure, and I lost it in our backyard somehow, and we never saw that shit again. So a couple of years ago, for Morgana's birthday, because I still felt really, really bad, and I knew that she'd always wanted the Pink Ranger doll and not the Trini doll. I got her that action figure for her. What was that, like 5 years ago?
28.
Yeah.
Her 20th birthday. 28 or 29.
Yeah, about 5 years. So now she just has that in her house, and it makes me. I love callbacks, and I will absolutely wait 20 years to call back on something that happened to me and Morgana when we were kids, and then just hand it to her. It doesn't look like we have any more questions from the audience, and we are right about at an hour and a half, so we're gonna go ahead and close things down. But thank you so much for hanging out with us today and talking about the show with us and giving us your questions about the show. Feel free to interact with us on Twitter or on Instagram if you have other questions. If there's stuff that you're curious about, stuff that you would like to see, please let us know. Please let me know. I am nothing if not overly accommodating, so I will do my best to make those things happen. I have been Abadonne, or DK to save time. I am the GM and also the Dinah and also the everyone else. I'm having fun doing this. I love running these campaigns. I love that I convinced a bunch of people to do dumb homebrew bullshit with me. So we would love to have more of you. Thank you, Crows of the Damned. Crows of the Damned says that we all rock. Thanks.
Friend?
Who else? Who are you?
Hi, I'm Jordan. I'm at Lambertra, and I usually play Aubergine Dreams.
I'm Morgana. I play Seraphine St. Marie. Again, my pronouns are fuck around, find out. You can find me on the gram, either at my personal, which is decibel with 1 underscore, or you can find me at St. Marie. It's SVINTMVRIE on the gram. And that's all I got. Don't try to find me anywhere else because that's stalking and that's rude.
I am Maz, and you can find me on all the things as Mazface. My Twitter is, I believe, at real Mazface. And yeah, I'm very happy to do this. I loved this whole conversation. It was very cool. And I'm just happy to be here.
But we'll see you folks in a couple of weeks or tonight if you're coming back to join us for the other show. And again, thanks for just hanging out with us.
Bye, guys!